Hey guys, it's John Lee here. Something different about this video, as you can actually see my face for a change. I had a few announcements to make today, just a couple of milestones for the channel. So this week, the channel received its first donation. Very happy about that. Not because it's about the money, it's a $5 donation, but I think it's a really nice honest way of showing some respect and appreciation. So thinking about, well, what should I do for the channel? I mean, well, the channel represents a community, and I thought, well, let's go buy a webcam, so you can see my facial expressions while I'm streaming. So that's why I have a webcam now, and you're going to be able to see my face in future. So yeah, before I go forward, I'm just going to shrink my face on the screen. So bear with me for a moment. Bring the size down, shift to the bottom and over to the left. So yeah, I mean, talking about milestones for the channel, I mean, I had a look at YouTube today. I'm punching a crazy house. Usually I'm nowhere to be found here, but I was surprised to see I was actually the fifth option, or at least the channel was the fifth option, I should say. So happy to see that it's progressing up the ranks based on search engine results. And then, approaching 300 subscribers, still a small channel, just getting started up. And nice that someone's just found the support link here. So yeah, thank you very much for the donation. I still don't know who it is, so perhaps a message was sent my way in some form, but I have not been able to find it, or I haven't received it. If it is you, you know who you are, so please let me know. Just send me a message on my Leechess account. I'm very grateful for that, and I'd like to know. So yeah. The other change I'm making is with regards to comments that have been made. I mean, there's been a lot of feedback on the channel, a lot of positive feedback, a little bit of negative feedback, but overall it's been constructive, or it's been negative. So one thing I've done is really kept the channel to live streams and live play. There's been requests for like some tutorial type material. So today I'm also introducing a new kind of segment. I'm going to call it just Game of the Week. And so with that, I'm going to get started on Game of the Week. Now, the game I've chosen is a game from a series I recently played against Suwanet. So there are a number of comments that have already said it was a great series. I played it was the Combo Cage 3 video with Suwanet versus John Lee. And it was a really tight battle. In fact, I don't think Black won a match, maybe until halfway through the series. I mean, White just won nearly every game, which is a great tight battle. So I think my opponent played very well. In this particular game, Suwanet, he was the winner of the game, and I thought it was worthy of showing just because there was a really nice mating combination, a nice mating net shown at the end of it. So I'm going to go through that, but without the pressure of having to play a game at the same time. So that's a little different. Now I'm going to start with one of my games, but in future I'd like to open up this segment to other material as well. So this doesn't always have to be a game that I've played. But yeah, let's go through this. So okay, I'm going to go through this opening. Fairly standard e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. And really, white plays for e4 and d5. And so black has to try to play for e5 and d4 to balance the center. But look, this opening can lead in many different directions. There's a bishop takes f7 sack, which is possible, but we've gone for a fairly closed line where all the knights and bishops come out, and it's all symmetrical. So this is a very common position. You'll see this a lot in my games. You'll see it a lot in other games at the moment. It's quite popular. It's quite balanced. So both sides played. Okay, knight d5. I mean, in the past, I think bishop g5 has been more popular, but there's been a lot more development on, dare I say, theory. I mean, I actually think there's probably a bit more opening knowledge getting developed in the game now. Knight d5, I've found, is becoming a little bit more popular, and it's probably more theoretical reasons for it, because bishop g5 is actually a move that's fine as well, but there's a nice number of opening tricks I think that people have found. Um, so in this case, I've played knight g4, and that's one way of going against this. I'll be honest, I don't find the prospect of trading two minor pieces for a rook and a pawn that attractive. I mean, the minor pieces are quite valuable in the middle game of Crazy House. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, in this series, I mean, we were mixing it up, and I was having to try a number of different openings. So this is it's a decent continuation, but I'll just say, heading into this, I'm not looking forward to the prospect of losing these two minor pieces. Um, okay, so bishop g5, natural looking move, just forcing the issue on the queen. Yeah, it's not. You can't really play queen e8. There's knight takes c7. It's not comfortable. Queen d7 isn't ideal either. That kind of blocks this bishop out of the way. So quite a common play is actually to get quite active and play knight takes f2. So yeah, I mean, the idea being you can't just capture the queen straight away, because black can at least capture the queen, and I think it could be quite dangerous for white. So it's preferable for white to take on f2. There's a trade-off. Now, a lot play king takes f2, so I'll say, yeah, if I use the analysis board, I'll be able to move something. King takes f2 is quite common. King h1 is the move that was played. Now, here, I'm just going to pause here. Just give me a second, see if I can get some different moves now. I was going to say king takes f2. This position has arisen a number of times before as well, which is a queen sacrifice, but allows black some activity on this king. So I mean, it's really a positional sacrifice, showing the white's king is a little bit more exposed than the black king. That's another line. That's another game. I've had a number of games against Master 10 following this line. So we'll go back to the game. So why not avoid this by playing king h1. And now in terms of material, black actually has a pawn and a knight for the, pawn and a rook for the knight. And so I feel here that black maybe should be a little bit better, but white is also very active. The move I chose was pawn at e7. Maybe pawn at f6 is a more aggressive possibility. During the game, I was a little bit concerned if this could be captured and knight at h5 might come in. It's not really much to be concerned about. Black's probably okay. So yeah, look, maybe pawn at f6 is a little bit more of an aggressive continuation that forces the issue with white. Pawn at e7 is a little more passive, but really prevents white from making any sacrifices here. This knight supports the e7 pawn quite nicely. So white's played queen f1. I like this move. It's actually quite a good defensive move. It kicks the bishop away. It's good for preventing some knight at f2 or rook at g1 type mating ideas. But also it's potentially going to be aiming out this way too, where white already has some natural pressure, particularly if the knight bounces out some way. So it's a good multi-purpose move, queen f1. So I've retreated the bishop, and white already starts going at black. Now, basically, white's down a bit of material. and white can't afford to sit still. White's got some activity. If white can't justify, um, you know, his slight material sacrifice on f2, um, then white's going to be in trouble. So white has to go for it. Um, and honestly, as black here, I still felt fairly comfortable. I mean, my king's relatively intact. There's some potential that's building, but I'm also getting threats with knight at f2 potentially. So here white's played knight at d5 and queen e6. Now, unfortunately after knight d5, black doesn't have any of these squares available. Queen d8 is also not that attractive because of pawn at e7, forking the rook and the queen. If the queen goes back to e8, then knight at f6 is a possibility. And so here, yeah, I know you're stepping in the way of knight c7, but it's nearly like taking the least of a few evils. At least you can potentially cross the queen somewhere onto the king's side. So yeah, I've elected queen e6, and then knight g5 was played. So here's a critical position, I would say. And if you listen to my commentary during the game, I kind of actually had a feeling during the game, I think queen takes f7 is something that should be respected. And I had a look at some lines during the game, and it looked like I could survive it. It turns out I was wrong. But yeah, we'll continue on this line first, and then I might come back to this position and suggest what some alternative moves might have been. But this is really the critical position in the game, I would say. So I've elected queen h6. And the idea of queen h6 being it threatens knight at g3, attacks the knight. Now there are some nasty looking checks here. I mean, you've got knight e7. Then you could play king h8. And while knight f7 might look dangerous, I mean, even though if white gets here, black's going to mate in one. So white actually has to be very accurate. Queen h6 is asking the question of white, what have you got here? You're going to have to do everything with check, or else I'm going to get you with mate in one. So here's a brilliant move, and I actually think this is a forced mate from this position. Queen takes f7 check. And not easy to see. The continuation is quite a bit. I think if you were to use any decent Crazy House engine, it probably comes up with the answer quite quickly. But the point of me showing you this is to show you how many lines do not work and how unique this line is, such that it does work, and also as the player who moved to pieces as black here, some of the things I thought and some of the things I missed. So yeah. First key thing, if king h8, queen takes f8 check, any blocker on g8 and knight f7 mates. So black must capture f7. Okay, now here on the game, my biggest concern was actually knight e7 check. And here you can't play king h8 because of knight takes f7 mate. So you can't take the knight because of the bishop being here. So I thought, well then, king f8 actually looks like it's going to be alright. I mean, there's not going to be any continuation with knight at g6. I've got that covered twice. If any capture's made on the rook, well, knight at g3 is going to mate. If knight at e6, I can just actually take this, and white runs out of checks. If I pawn at f6, I'm just going to capture it. So I actually thought, well, king f8 is going to be fine. But Suano had found the right move. He found knight f6. And here I actually thought, well, that's kind of similar. King f8 is going to be okay as well. So obviously I can't play king h8. Knight f7 still works there. Now, I can't play a few other moves, which I also thought would make this move less likely to be a possibility. You can't take it with the pawn because white's going to play the check here. It doesn't matter which way the king runs. If the king runs to h8 or g7, then rook at g8 is going to mate. So the best try is king f8, but that doesn't really matter because white cuts off the king from e7, and you end up with mate anyway. So pawn takes is no good. I thought queen takes should be safe. because the only check is bishop f7. Now you can't move the king either way because you're going to get mate on the back rank with either rook at g8 or rook at e8. But this you would think is safe because knight takes f7, knight at f2, rook at h1. Now, one of the things I'd missed was the fact that white can actually sacrifice rook at h8. So when I say I missed this, I mean I missed this when I played queen h6. So that's a problem because this also mates. This also mates. So you've got queen at e8, a blocker here, knight at e7. So yeah, faced with this problem, black can't actually capture this knight on f6. So I've got king f8 as an option. So that's the move that was played, so I should actually go to the main line. And even here, I thought I'd be safe. So you've kind of got to look at white's options for the different checks. And the two that are most striking are knight g takes h7 or knight f takes h7. So let's go through each of these. I thought that if the knight takes here, that forces king e7. And remember, white still has to do things with check because of the mate threats that are coming this side. Here, white could play knight at g8 or knight at d5, but after king d8, pawn at e7, black's actually safe. White's going to run out of checks, it's going to mate black, and then it's going to be all over. So the other possibility I looked at was knight f takes h7. Now the black king can't come here because of bishop f7 and rook at g8 mate. You don't want to run to e8 either because you're getting checked. So again, king e7 is the preference. And here, knight at d5 is a bit more effective because we don't have the same move king d8. We'll run into knight f7. So the accurate move is in fact king d7. And not to run out to c6 because pawn at b5 would mate anyway. But we're looking at if pawn at e6, you just capture this with the queen. And you can sacrifice the queen and then knight f2 will mate again, of course. So you might get some interesting moves like knight f6 might be interesting because white can start trying to threaten to take the queen with check. I think in this case you can even run out the king now because the knight's not there defending b6. And white will find safety in the sense that the checks run out. So yeah, I was thinking this might be safe, and Suwan had found a brilliant move here, and if you have a look at white, that there aren't that many pieces. There's not an obvious mating net that's present on the board, but he's played pawn at e7, and this is the winning move for white. This is the move that makes or breaks because all the other obvious checks look very promising, but this is the one that actually wins. Now I can't take this way because of knight takes h7, and because the king has no square to move to, I'm now forced to take this, and white having the queen in hand will find mate. So basically you've got queen at f8, king e7, knight at f6 will mate. Oh, sorry, it won't actually. We've got the c6 square to cover. So maybe white has to change the move order slightly. Queen takes e7 is probably more accurate. So you can't, if you capture this now, the rook prevents the king from getting to d7. It doesn't matter which way you move, you should be in trouble. I think king d7 might be most accurate because knight at f6 is the main threat. You can try to get away to c6, but then white can promote, force the king back this way, play knight at f6. And there's a nice mating net here. So yeah, not all obvious stuff, but basically rook takes e7 isn't attractive anymore for that reason. So king takes d7, and then here it kind of dawned on me, well, where's the significance in this move? And it really is having the knight still on g5 attacking f7, while also having the knight here attacking these light squares. Because white's only got a pawn and a knight in hand, but there's actually a mating net here, and it's a little bit surprising. Knight at g8. Now, knight at g8 is the better one to use because it just still keeps this line open, which is useful. And so white only has two moves here. There's either king d8 or king f8. Now again, king f8 runs into these problems with knight h7. King's got nowhere to go, so the queen's going to get traded off. From here you can see white just has too much material. I'll go through an example line. Queen at f8. Can't go to e6 because of pawn at d5, so we run this way, but that's no better. So, too much material, too many checks available. And now the problem here is now king d8 as well is just made it on the spot. So, yeah, pawn at e7, a really strong move. That was the winning move for white. We'll just go through what happened in the game. I went back to f8. He played pawn at e7 first, which is still fine. Captured this, but it just means that this knight is defended now. Queen at f8. Now at this point, the most accurate move is in fact bishop b5 check, just to seal off this c6 square. You can play c7, it's not going to help. King e6, no better. He didn't play that. He played out here, and it's still fine. From here, I think maybe white should probably just straight away play pawn at d5, look at b5, capture this bishop with check. Yeah, once you block, it should be over. Queen takes c7 is going to be too dangerous. Just to play out the whole mate for you. So yeah, completely winning. I think maybe he just missed that point. We may have both been in time trouble. I feel I was probably more time trouble than he was. And so he just came back to defend. Now, look, here he's probably let black into the game a little bit more. Black could maybe try. I think knight at f2 is a bit risky in that the king's probably still quite unsafe. But a good move is actually a6 in this position. And that not only covers b5, but importantly gives black an escape route out here. So had I not been in as much time trouble, I probably would have given that a shot. Instead, I only looked for knight at g4 and trying to get in on f2. And the game proceeded this way, and I ran out of time shortly after. But yeah, there's some nice mating technique in this game. Well back. I'll have a quick step back to what I call the critical position, which really is a decision to play queen h6 because, like I've said, queen takes f7 is mate after it. If I was to recommend an improvement here, could possibly be rook at h5. So same idea, you've got a knight at g3 threat, but attacking the knight. So looking to get safe through that means. You could see if queen takes f7 there's still trouble. If you take with the queen, it definitely is a problem because of check mate here. That's all forced. So you would need to take this back with the rook. And then I think black should be safe from here. But white's tries a knight f6 or knight e7 to try to open up something tricky. I think one of the easiest ways to respond might just be to capture the knight. And after this is captured, just recapture here. and black can claim safety with all the pieces sitting around the king. While there's actually extra pieces in black's hand now, and these threats on g3 and f2 are too dangerous. So alternatives for white might include something like knight at h3, but then that changes things now because there's a lot less in hand for white. So it's still a game here. I mean, one interesting move might even be something like knight at g4, which doesn't look intuitive, but after giving up the queen, black's now got threats like rook takes h3 and knight at f2, and if you look relative to the game, white has nothing in this quadrant, so black is relatively safe. So yeah, that's one alternative way of continuing, but I mean, yeah, all things said, not easy in a game to see that queen h7, h6 isn't exactly safe. So look, okay, that's going to end this little session, which I'm going to call Game of the Week. Yeah, what I recommend is if you've got an interesting game, could be a game you played yourself, or it could be a game you saw of some stronger players that you think is worthwhile having a look at. Yeah, please send me a message to my Lead Chess account and just send a link to the game. And I'll have a look at the submissions, and then we can establish a new segment during the week. But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to playing the tournament tomorrow morning, so I'm going to call it a night there. And yeah, look forward to seeing you soon with the webcam in action. All right, thanks guys.